I see, buddy. Hello, everybody. Now, Stroud, I'm going to ask you for a mic check because my son says I'm loud on this thing. Am I loud right now?
No,
All
you're
right.
good.
You sound just right.
All right, perfect. All right, I'm going to start sharing my screen. First, I want to welcome everybody. Hold on one sec. Let me get this sharing. Okay. Mr. Stroud, can you see the Duggan logo?
No, I can't see it.
How about now? Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Can you say something? I just don't hear anybody on my.
Yeah, Mike, we can hear you fine.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Sorry about that. Well, welcome everyone that is here today. My name is Mike Calvinist, the principal of Duggan Academy. We hope everyone's doing well. We thank you for taking the time to be on the call here today with us. I know it's been a big challenge for all our families out there. We've had some families that have lost members of their family. We've had some staff that have lost members of their family, and we just pray and hope that everyone's staying strong out there, and we'll see you hopefully soon. We are excited to start the year, even though it's going to be remote. And this is an initial meeting to at least give you some information of what the year will look like. I can tell you right now that the year will look much different than it did in the spring. I think the spring, we were all just trying to play catch up, and it was very confusing for our families and for our students and for our teachers. And for that, I do apologize. I think our goal is to make this a great learning experience for our kids, even if it is done remotely. And so some things are going to change for them. And so this is an opportunity here today for you to get some feedback from us, get some feedback from you. Let me just move to the next slide here. And if you could take a moment to write your name in the chat and your child's name so we can see who is here today. The chat can be found on the toolbar on the bottom of the screen. If you don't see it on the bottom of the screen, just go to the three dots that say more, and then you'll pull the chat up. And that'll be an opportunity for you to write your child's name and your name. And then there'll also be an opportunity for you to write some questions at any point during the chat. During the presentation. So please put any questions during the presentation in the chat, and we will be sure to take some time to answer that at the end of the presentation. Just like to take a brief moment to at least have some administrative staff. I know we have many teachers on this call. I would like to introduce everybody, but for time's sake, I'm going to have the administrative staff introduce themselves real quickly. We will be doing a follow-up meeting at all grade levels, so you'll have an opportunity to meet all of your teachers at the grade levels. And I do like to thank all the staff that is here as well. I know there's many teachers that are here and coaches supporting. So if we could take a few minutes to just say hello, and they should pop up on the bottom part of the screen as they speak. So why don't we start with you, Mr. Stroud?
I'll go, Mr. Calvinist. My name's
Hey,
Chris.
everybody.
It's
Oh.
okay.
Go ahead, Christine.
My name is Christine Lassard. I'm the Director of Intervention.
And I'm Stephen Stroud. I am the Director of Curriculum and Instruction. And it's great to see you all here. I really appreciate you coming out. We have 101 participants on this call right now. Awesome.
Yeah, woo. And I'm Mary Kay Brown, and I am the Director of Partnerships.
Hi, my name is William Snow. I'm one of the assistant principals, and I work with the high school grades 10, 11, and 12.
Hi, I'm Dan Sullivan. I'm one of the assistant principals, and I'll work with grades 8 and 9 this year.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes?
Good, okay, I could unmute. I'm April Robinson. I'm this 6th and 7th grade assistant principal, and I'm excited to see you guys.
Well, thank you for being here, everyone. And I'm going to get going on the presentation. The mission and vision, just to give a quick overview of our school. Those are new families that are here at Duggan in our 6th grade or 9th grade. I'm not going to read the entire mission and vision to you, but we are focused on getting our students ready for high school and college and beyond through a rigorous academic experience, as well as focusing on the habits of scholarship, of respect, responsibility, quality, and perseverance. And we like to just, our mantra is this idea of supporting students through structure and love. So providing a lot of structure for kids, but really focusing on building relationships with our students. As I am the principal of Duggan, I also oversee Kennedy and small school at Kiley. And in all 3 schools, we have an anti-racism statement. With all that is going on in the world over the years, but especially over the last year, I think it was really important for us as a school to have an anti-racism statement. Since 2014, we've been focused on ensuring that our students have high that our teachers have high academic expectations for our kids, and ensuring that there is no inequity in education. And so in our anti-racism statement, we believe in all schools, when all educators, students, and families, regardless of race, class, gender identity, sexual orientation, ability, or other identifiers, have unimpeded access to inclusive learning and work environments. We believe when that happens, equity exists, and we are always focused on that. So now that we're remote learning, what does that mean? And I know that there's a lot out there going on, and I know in my own life with my own kids, the challenge that we have with working parents and kids being remote or hybrid or whatever it is that it's going to be. But we are going to go remote, and we are going to have a day that is going to be structured just like a regular school day for our kids. And we hope that that will take some of the burden off our families by ensuring that throughout the day, and every period of the day that we have, there will be a live staff member available for your child throughout the day. So it's not like the spring of remote learning where, some of this stuff was on their own and some of the stuff was where there wasn't a teacher available. There will be a teacher available throughout the day. And the expectation is that every morning at crew, grades 6 through 12, there will be a attendance taken at 7:30 to 7:55 a.m. and kids will begin their day in their crew. And as our crew, many of the families that have been with us for years, our crew is your point person. We start every day in a crew, which is a focus on relationship building. And it's a nice, in school, it's a beautiful thing to see kids sitting in small group with their teachers, having a little breakfast and talking about the day. This will look a little bit different. They can have breakfast, obviously, at home while they're talking to their teacher and to their classmates. But this will be an opportunity for kids to get organized, to make sure that they know exactly where they're going throughout the day. So when they have crew, our expectation, our teachers are going to go through the calendar for the day for our children and know exactly where they need to be block to block. This is where the first attendance is taken. So there will be attendance taken during crew, and that will go into our Power School system. And so you might get a call that your child is absent. And so that we're trying to make it so that as soon as that goes in, if someone's not there, the call goes out in case you are working. And sometimes you might need to call the little one to make sure they're up. I know my little ones are up till, right now they're up pretty late playing Fortnite. I got to get them straightened out with that. But also want to just go through a couple sample schedules. This is a middle school sample schedule for kids in grades 6 through 8. So as you can see, the school day begins at 7:30 and then it ends at 2:55. And throughout the day, there are breaks. So it's not just straight through, but they start very early. They start like they would in school at 7:30. And they have one social studies or science block, one math or one ELA block every day. So that is every day they'll have ELA or math and a science or a social studies class. We're not giving them science and social studies at once. We're doing that to just alleviate the amount of core classes they have in one time. They'll take either science or social studies by semester. So kids will take science or social studies. If you see in their report card or on their schedule that they have social studies, they'll have it for half the year, and then the other half, they'll have the other subject. They'll also have iReady 3 times a week, 40 minutes at a time. They'll have Encore, which is an elective, and then they have a flex block. This last hour of the day is an opportunity for kids to work independently. And however, we want them to log in because there's a staff member on the other end to support them while they're working independently. There's also, if your child needs more support in math or English, specifically reading, during that flex block, we will poll children to do small group instruction. So that will be built into the schedule. And let me just do one more thing. Go back to that middle school schedule. You'll see in the middle school, we changed some things. If you're a returning family to the school, we used to have 60-minute blocks. We'll have 80-minute blocks. So it's a longer block, but we also are going to be having some breaks within the block. So teachers are working right now, understanding that it is a long day. Our teachers have been working all week, and it's exhausting on Zoom all day. And we understand, trust me, as going through this as educators, that being on Zoom all day is a challenge. So there will be some breaks for kids built into the day and into the classes. And in between each class, they have a 5-minute break, and there's also a 40-minute lunch. In 9th and 10th grade, and similar to 11th and 12th grade, I'll show 2 quick samples. This is a sample of a 9th and 10th grade schedule. Their day's a little shorter. They also start at the same time as the middle school students, 7:30 to 7:55. Their blocks are shorter. They're only 55-minute blocks. In high school, they have more to do for requirements, so they'll have all the core subjects of math, English, science, and social studies. They'll also have Spanish as their language. They'll have an opportunity for Encore as well. And at the end of the day, it ends at 2:20, but from 2:20 to 3, we're going to ask our teachers that want to do any clubs with kids or obviously hold additional office hours. They may do, that would be a great time for them to do that, and we encourage them to do so. During the week, there'll be live classes all week long, but if you can look at this schedule, you'll see, it's hard to sort of see, you'll see there's some things that say biology office hours or Spanish office hours or English office hours. Every subject will have 1 office hour a week. And that means that the teacher is online. So the teacher is literally online on their computer. And that's an opportunity. If you are working independently for that 1 block and your child is having struggles, this is a great opportunity to go on the computer during those office hours and meet with a live person at that moment. So it's not going to be like there's no one available for your child at that time. This is an example of 11th and 12th grade schedule. Just really quick, I want to highlight a couple things. It's pretty much identical to the to the 9th and 10th schedule, but I'd like to let my middle school parents know what we offer for our high school kids. A lot of times students in 8th grade want to go to, Putnam or Central or even Commerce and other schools out there. And I just like to encourage them to stay here with me at Duggan and Mr. Snow and our team. We offer a rigorous program. We offer advanced placement classes in every core subject. And you'll see in the green highlighted area, we also have dual enrollment where we send our students to Springfield Technical Community College. And so that's something that we'll get them on the bus if you want, or sometimes they just go right down the street. But our schedule aligns to the Springfield Technical Community College schedule. So our high school kids take college classes while in high school, and we pay for the class and we pay for the books. So it costs them nothing, $0 to go. And those credits will follow them in college. We have about 20 students, I believe, in there for this year, even in a dual enrollment setting. And so we encourage our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders to stay with us. We get you into advanced placement courses right off the bat, especially if you qualify for it, and get you into those dual enrollment classes. But you'll see they also have office hours in 11 and 12 if students do need it. So even though we're in a remote setting, last year we ended the year by saying, we were very lenient on attendance. We were very lenient on grading. We did pass fail. So right now we are not doing pass fail at all. It is a regular school day. It is a regular grading policy. So teachers will grade on what we consider an 80-20 rule. That is a typical rule we use. 80% of the grade is on content and standards. So 80% of the grade is on what they're learning. 20% of the grade is basically how they're learning it through the habits of scholarship. Is your child participating? Are they showing up? Are they actively, are they putting their screen on when the teacher wants their screen on? There'll be times that we require that teachers have the kids have their screen on. Most times we want that screen on for them so they're interacting in a very, in a way with their eyes on the computer. So that grading is going to be much different than it was in the spring. And I want to make sure families know that right off the bat. On your report card, you're going to see all the core classes of math, English, science, and social studies, but you might see English ESOL if your child needs language services, they'll get a grade on that. And they might see math fluency or math intervention if they need additional support with math intervention, or they might see a class called reading if they need additional reading supports. So those might be additional grades you'll see for your child. Just want to remind you as I'm going through this, just throw any questions into the chat and we'll go back and answer some questions. So as we get ready for the year, how can you prepare? The one thing we'd want you to do is find a quiet space for your child. It doesn't have to be a large space, just some quiet space that they can get so they can, go onto the computer and have their class. And obviously a good night rest. It's gonna be very tough getting the kids back into the swing of things, especially when they think it's still remote. But this is something we're all gonna have to work together to make sure that kids know that this is regular school and they have to be ready to rock and roll first thing in the morning. So trying to wind them off the games now would be great. In the morning, a little breakfast, alarm clock will help get them ready to go. Also, I recommend strongly for parents to check your child's PowerSchool. So your child can log in PowerSchool, I'm sure you all know at this point, through their ID number. So they pop in their ID number and then they do their password, which is capital S, lowercase b, and their 6-digit birthday. Mine's 06/02/1975. Anybody wants to get me some birthday presents, that's June 2nd, 1975. 45 this year. I'm getting older. Anyway, so let's see here. Check in the students. Yeah, so I would want you to go in there, check PowerSchool, because in PowerSchool through Unified Classrooms, you can see your child's lessons, and more importantly, their if assignments are missing, and you can actually see that. So if you're worried about what's going on or not sure what's going on, just go onto their Unified Classroom. Also, what you can see on there is their schedule, and you can see their teachers' names. And as you know, it's, my email is Calvinese M. My first name is Michael, so my first initial is M, @springfieldpublicschools.com. So I would encourage you, if you need to ever get in touch with your teacher, you're not sure what's going on, just email your teacher. Email the teacher. Last name, first initial, and then copy me, Mr. Snow or Mr. Sullivan or Ms. Robinson on that. And we want that to be done. And we will make sure that, teachers are trying to call you as well and contact you, but please reach out to us as well. Other things that you can do to prepare is practice logging into the computer now. So if you have not logged into your child's computer lately, I would log in. Sometimes what tends to happen, especially if the computer's been sitting for, say, 30 days or longer, there might be some connection issues. So I would check the computer now if there's any issues prior to the school year to let us know. Email me, any of the administration on this call, the crew teacher would be anyone that you could reach out to let us know. Springfield Public Schools, and specifically the city of Springfield, has done an unbelievable job issuing computers for all students. So every child in the city of Springfield should have a computer. We really recommend I know about 200 of our families have not wanted to use one of our computers yet because they have other computers. That's great. I would recommend getting one anyway, even if it's an extra. Just get the computer, and that way you have it. That computer will follow your child all the way through high school, and they'll, exchange it obviously if there's any issue. So I would, we will arrange a pickup the last week before school starts, which will be, I think, the week of the 8th at Duggan. If your computer is not working at all, please call the main office or email us, and you should get one within 24 hours. If it's longer than 24 hours, it's unacceptable. It should be the next day. So if for any reason that doesn't happen, just come right into the building or call me, and I'll give you my cell phone number. You should get a computer immediately. We do not want to wait 5 days. Over the spring, that did happen. Some kids are waiting 5 days, a week, 2 weeks, and that should not happen. And I will ensure that you have my cell phone number at the end of this call, and to make sure it does not happen for our kids. So if a computer is working but the camera does not work, I consider that not working. 20% of our grade is habits of scholarship is on participation. So we really want, part of that is through the camera is interaction with the teacher on the computer. So if the computer's camera's not working, please come and get one in the main office and let us know. We'll get you one. Student learning expectations, attendance daily is obviously a big one. So that's going to be a big one for kids, and make sure the expectation for kids is that they're there, participating, not just what we've seen over the spring with some kids, and I know even some adults when I've been working with, is that the screen's on, but the picture is not. And then when you ask a question, they're not physically there. That will happen from time to time, but we want to avoid that. So that's going to be part of the grade. Now, we know that we want to make sure that kids have privacy and adults have privacy. So we are encouraging, and we're going to mandate that kids blur their background. So like right now, you can see this is my basement right now. I got my drywall up, trying to fix it up a little bit, but normally you will have a logo behind you or a blurred back, so you won't even see the back of the room. So it'll be more private for your family, and it'll be more private for your child. And we also look at participation by actively communicating on either Zoom or Teams. We'll use one of those two platforms. We're going to use either one of those. So our children will either use Zoom or Teams, depending on what the teacher is using. Assignments are both graded daily and sometimes over the course of a week, depending on what the teacher assigns. So it's like regular school. So some classes will be, the daily habit of scholarship grade. They will get a daily habit of scholarship grade, but some assignments might be more long-term. Students should be dressed appropriately, but they are not required to be in uniform. So we just say appropriately. We want to make sure that they're, you're going to be on a screen. So just dress so they're covered appropriately, and there's nothing on their shirt that says something inappropriate. They'll be fine. Excuse me. Other school supports. So students in special education will have access to their special education teacher. All IEP supports we provide as the IEP states. 504 as well. So if you have speech or counseling services, those will be provided through Teams or Zoom. If you have language services being provided for ESOL students, they'll get 5 to 15 hours per week, depending on the level of student. In school supplies, we ask that families prefer, paper, pencil, basic supplies. There's not much that really needs beyond that. We will provide additional supplies for you. We do actually recommend that you get a stylus for the computer. We'll try to purchase some of those. There's also some glasses you can purchase. You can get them anywhere, actually pretty reasonable. They're blue filter glasses that we recommend you getting for your child, so they can, so they're not so exhausted by the look at the screen all day long. The last week before school, we will also provide pickup where you can pick up. Some children will prefer to actually work in their math book or their English book. We'll have hard copies for them to have that you can pick up at the school. If you choose not to, that's your choice, but they will have access online as well. All of our curriculum, I'd say 90% of it is online. So books will be online. There'll be some tools online that they can do. But if you want to get a hard copy, you can absolutely pick one up at the school. We do have them. And if you are concerned about anything of the following or anything at all, call the school. I just say call the school or email us. Please take a screenshot. That's my email right there. That's the school number as well. My cell phone number, I'll put it in the chat right now. And that's my cell phone number in the, oh, I just privately gave it to somebody. I apologize. I don't know who that, Ms. Allard, you got my phone number now. Hold on one second, we do it again. Perfect. So there's my cell phone in the chat for you. Call with anything. And even if you call, leave a message or text. If you text me, please give me your child's name and what the concern is. And if I don't get back to you, I'll probably just say I'll get on it and I'll send it to the appropriate assistant principal or counselor to support you with it. And the other thing I just want to, many of you, or if not all of you, got onto the Springfield Public School website. That's excellent. That's where we'll be posting a lot of our information on that website. So if there's any updates or anything that we say on our phone calls, we may refer you to that website. Please go on that website. We are also including this YouTube channel that you can see right here. This YouTube channel has all different tech support videos in multiple languages for you. So if there's something that you're struggling with getting on Unified Classrooms, you can call the school, but you can also go to this site and you'll find different things and you can try to problem solve it for you while you're waiting. There's a couple more things I wanted to hit really quick. We do have a few future meetings coming up. Ms. Robinson, is that the right date for 6th grade?
Let me just double check here. I'm just, yes, it is. That's the correct date.
Oh, and as far as recording, one of the expectations I didn't talk about was recording. So teachers will only record, sometimes we'll record lessons online. They will only record lessons if there's no, when we take all cameras off. So in other words, your child will not have their image on while recording. And obviously that's an expectation as well on the other end. So students should not be recording at all on the computer. That's a really important point, that they shouldn't be recording on it. That's not allowed. So we will only record with video off, and the same for the kids on that. So we have a meeting coming up, a follow-up with 6th grade on Tuesday, September 9th. Coming up, and I'm gonna now stop right there. I'm sure there's a lot of things I didn't cover.
The 7th grade,
Go ahead, Ms. Robinson, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, the 7th grade is September 8th at 5 o'clock.
Okay, 7th grade is September 8th at 5 o'clock. That's not on there.
Yes. I can put it in the chat.
Thank you very much. And 8th grade hasn't been determined yet, so we'll look at that. In high school, I think, looking at it a little bit further before they come out with another date. So 6th and 7th grade has been booked.
Yeah.
All right, I am going to take this PowerPoint down. Thank you for that. That was about, how long did that take me to go through that? It took me about 30 minutes. You guys were really patient waiting for me on that.
You must gotta take my macaroni and cheese.
Hey, Mr. Calvanese, nice job. Thanks for bringing us through all the big picture. There are a few questions that I didn't see get answered in the chat, and I thought maybe they seem big enough that maybe you could address them publicly. One was about it was a while back, somebody asked about the 3 assignments per week that the district was saying. Could you address that? Oh, you're muted.
All right, can you hear? I think you got me now. So yeah, I appreciate that question. So yeah, the district will run things a little bit differently than Duggan Duggan does. We run under the empowerment zone. So back in 2014, we were considered a level 4 school, and we were taking sort of being monitored by the state. And so since then, we have gotten out of level 4, actually, which is great news. Duggan last year, if you don't know this, is no longer level 4 school. And actually, we're climbing really high. Our scores are doing great, and our kids are doing a phenomenal job. But as far as that question is, we are not following that guidance from the district. We are doing, our assignments are not going to be, they're going to be just as the teacher determines. So one thing we are telling our teachers are that we don't want to, and they agree, we don't want to push too much homework. We're not going to do a lot of homework. There'll be some connections where kids might have to read a chapter or something for the next day's English class, but we're not going to be pushing a lot of homework because it is a long day in the school. But we are expecting that lessons are done, and we are expecting that assignments are given as needed. Teachers will coordinate that so it's not too overwhelming, but it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of work for the high school. I know the high school kid in the middle school, but I know high school, it's a lot of work for those guys and getting them ready for college and beyond. But we are not necessarily following the district guidance on that. Grading will be followed and assignments will be issued by the teachers. And there's an expectation that those are done. We are asking that if it's a longer assignment, that we give them a week to do it, but that's not always the case. Some things are going to be done right there in the moment in class. So if I'm in school and a teacher gives a quiz, and you know that's going to be graded on the spot.
Okay. Thanks. So we got a question about uniforms. It was if a student is wearing a Black Lives Matter shirt, will that be considered inappropriate?
Black lives do matter, so I don't see why that would be inappropriate. No way. Not inappropriate.
There's a question. You addressed the orientation for families, but Tony Cruz asked, will there be any type of orientation for incoming students?
Great question. So we will coordinate. So we're not sure how we're going to do that yet, quite honestly. We are going to either do it the first day where we sort of build into the schedule orientation. There will be we will be teaching kids how to do things with the technology. So that's either going to be done through some orientation prior to school beginning, or it will be done day one through the teachers working with the teachers together, working out a plan and a schedule for kids on how we get them ready for online learning. So the biggest thing want to make sure is that everyone knows how to get online day one. And so that's something that we'll probably do a follow-up meeting and definitely follow-up calls on that. Kids will have access to unified classrooms, to their schedules and their assignments. We're talking to the teachers on how to do that. We're pretty sure it's going to be through their Outlook, Microsoft Outlook, but we're just confirming that. I have a few of the teachers on the call and they can maybe speak to that, but I think we're definitely going to go through Microsoft Outlook on that. So more information coming on orientation. If you think we should do something prior, we can do something prior. We're talking about both options. But we don't expect kids to start the day and go right into math class. So there'll be some type of like plan for them to understand how their schedule works and how their day works, so they know what to expect. The other thing, I'm sorry, one thing I didn't say, 6th grade through 10th grade has weekly assemblies. So every week, your child, and I would love to have you on it, if families are welcome to come to those assemblies. We call them enrichments, but you'll see them 6 through 10, where they have weekly assemblies where we'll be talking to the kids in a full forum with everyone there and talk about what's going great, have some fun activities, but also troubleshoot any issues we have. And so that will be built into their schedule. I saw a question about 504. I just want to jump in on that. 504s are it's an expectation that 504s are followed 1,000%. So teachers have access to 504s, and they should be implemented. So,
Mr. Calvanese, I just have a fast question.
Sure.
What about for the Power School? Are the teachers, because there's some teachers like in the past grades that they weren't up to date with like the grades and stuff, and I would have to call and they're like, oh, we didn't put that in. So like I don't know if my child's doing like good in school if they're not updating it on a daily basis.
Yep, I understand what you're saying. So grading, Mr. Stroud, is there a way that we can tell if grades assignments have been turned in through Unified Classrooms? Is that correct?
Yes, we can
Yeah.
see if they've been turned in.
So you can at least see if an assignment has been turned in by going on Unified Classrooms. If a grade hasn't turned over, I mean, you know, I don't want to single out a teacher or anyone here, but I would say that would be something you want to call me on. I would expect, my expectation is no longer than a week. I think that's reasonable that a grade's inputted after it's assigned. I'll talk to the team about it, but I think most of my teachers do a very good job with it, but some do, you know, may fall behind. So I would say that's something you want to text me on or email me on, and we will, you know, speak to the teacher and find that out if that's happening.
Okay,
we don't want to
thank
wait
you.
long. Yep, no problem.
Thanks.
And you have my
And
number,
then
it's in the chat.
yeah, no, I have it already too. And
Yep.
then when will their schedules and when can they go on to figure out like what their
Yep.
classes are going to be?
Great question. I appreciate that question. So we're so optimistic about the year, because when kids left the remote year, the spring, it was like the schedule's different and it didn't align to Power School. Everything right now, we've been working to align to Power School. So your child's schedule will exactly 1000% align to what's in the computer system. So if your child says, oh, I don't have any class right now, I would go on Power School and see. They absolutely have a class. There's only a few portions of the day where they're working really independently. And that's either, if you're a middle school student, that's lunch. That's 45 minutes 3 times a week of iReady, where you're working independently, and that's still being monitored by a teacher through a software we have. And then for some kids, not even all kids, it's their flex block. For some kids, and they're still with a teacher during that time. So it's really only 45 minutes for iReady and lunch that they have that opportunity. High school, there's 5 times a week where there's office hours. That's it. 5 times a week where there's office hours. So if you're seeing a child off the computer for 2-3 hours at a clip, there's something wrong. But it aligns the Power School. Right now, we're pretty much finishing up, and my counselors pretty much almost finished up Power School now. You can almost take a look. I don't know if they're on, if you have access yet, but I would say by Tuesday, it'll be fully ready to rock and roll, and you could access it and it'll be accurate by Tuesday, if not already.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yep. No, thank you.
Let's see, there was a question about will there be honors classes for middle school children so students who are on grade or above can stay on pace for their learning?
So we don't really run honors classes, but we don't run below the standard either. So kids are getting at least grade level. If your child's going much above grade level, more above grade level, and you think they need to be pushed more than what they're getting, that's a conversation that you would call me on that. We have done extensions for kids where we might look at a different grade level for them for a certain subject. Our schedules align pretty good. So if you're a 6th grade student taking math and they're testing out a 6th grade math, I don't mind putting them in 7th grade math, especially if they test it out. How you can know your child has tested out. So we do iReady 3 days a week. You can do it as much as you want. If your child's testing out, say if I'm a 6th grade student and I'm testing above the 7th grade, 6th grade, it's something to consider, to look at, maybe I can push them further into math. We have some kids that have tested out of iReady, and I can't stress this enough to families. We only stress that they do 45 minutes. We have 3 blocks a week in middle school where they do 45 minutes of math, 45 minutes of English. That's it for the week. And that's the minimal requirement. But it's a reading and math program. So, and it teaches to the child's level. So if your kids are struggling or doing well, if your kid's doing well in English and math, then have them keep on doing the iReady. That's great. They'll test out of it. It only goes as high as 8th grade. So I have some kids in 9th grade that in 9th grade are still in it. And they're like, Mr. Cownies, I'm a ninth grader. I don't need to be in it. You'll get out of it when we get you caught up, and we keep on, and most kids are out of it at this point, but we still keep on pushing it. So if you feel like your kid's not being challenged enough, your child's not being challenged enough, I would call me and see if we can find an alternate plan for them. But we don't do honors classes because, you know, and I've gone back and forth on this. I just want to talk a little bit more about why I don't. We used to track it at Savage Charter School in 7th and 8th grade. I didn't see much of a benefit of it tracking them that young. And so what we do is we accelerate our kids in 8th into 9th grade. And then in 9th grade, kids can take honors courses right there. And if you're a 9th grade student and in honors courses, you can take your AP classes and advanced placement classes in 11th grade. So I don't see the advantage of accelerating them that much in 7th and 8th grade. I see the advantage of accelerating them in 9th grade. And then you get them the advanced placement classes their junior year and their senior year. And that worked out very well for us at Savage Charter School when I was there back in 2005 to 2012. And we accelerated our kids right through, and they did very well. And they were ready for college. But if you feel like you're not challenged, that bothers me. So call me and we'll figure something out.
There's a question here, Mr. Calvanese. Is there a way working parents can log in and confirm a student is attending remote classes?
Is there a way a parent can log in and I don't know the answer to that question. I have to find that out. So I think what you could do, I think that if you can if you had your child's schedule, you could just email the teacher and say, hey, is my child there? You know, I don't see why not. And you know, maybe the teacher sees the email, maybe she doesn't see the email. Or you can email the assistant principal or the dean or me. And we try to, you know, hey, it's 9 o'clock and it's English on my child's schedule. Is he there? And we'll figure it out. We have people available. So like we have people just dedicated to make calls and inquiries just to see if kids are attending. So it's not a bother at all for you to email us, and we'll try to like figure it out at the moment, because that is our main concern, is that kids are logging in, and we do understand that families are working, and I feel like kids felt like they were passed last year, and they're gonna feel like that's gonna happen again, and we're really taking a stance that we're not passing kids. We can't have kids just pass without doing the work. Because it's a year of education, and sending them off to high school or beyond isn't the answer, because they're not going to be ready if they're not attending class. So I agree with you that we got to figure that out. So I would say I would email the teacher. There might be a way you can log on and see. I don't know. The only way I could see possible is if you jumped into the classroom with the teacher through the Teams or Zoom.
Mr. Calvanese, this is Dr. Jones, but I think that there's a way that the parents can see it in the Power School parent portal, whether or not their kids are attending or in attendance. If the teachers are taking attendance every period, right? They can see that in the parent portal.
Yeah, that's a good point, Dr. Jones. Yeah, so they would be able to see if the attendance is taken. You should be able to see it. You're talking about live right in the moment, Dr. Jones?
I believe so.
So that would be one option that you could look to see if the attendance is in the parent portal. But I would also say, you can also email us as well. Thank you, Dr. Jones.
Let's see. So there are a few questions here, Mr. Calvanese. One is, as a mom of an elementary, middle, and high schooler, do I need to stay all day sitting with one child?
No, that's why I feel like that's exactly what we didn't want to have happen. Like, I mean, every child's different, so you know the need of your children. I know the need of my kids as you know yours, and it's like some need more than others. And so I would say to you, that's why I'm very excited. That's why I could say to you and to my families out there is that, like, look, we're going to count this. This is going to count for kids. So I want to get that message out, because we're going to have a teacher there for every period, or a staff member for every period. And so, and people available to help them to check if kids are there or not. And so that's where we got to communicate back and forth. So no, you don't need to be sitting with your child every day. But what we need to do as a unit is just be like, hey, guys, this is not the springtime. We understand why we did things differently in the spring because we were reacting. But now we've had the whole summer to prepare. And the state of Massachusetts is really like, they want, obviously, and as we all do, kids have to be in school. So they're going to be, so we had to make sure we provided education remotely that was like school. And so we just got to get the message out to kids that this is, September 15th, we're in school. And we're in school at 7:30 in the morning. And we're at school, if you're in the middle school, till 2:55. If you're in the high school, till 2:20. And that's that. But and you just to know, like, our kids are going through a lot, and your kids are going through a lot. We're all going through a lot right now, and there's so much going on in the world. And so we do realize that. So as much as there's an expectation on learning, there's also a lot that needs to be done social emotional learning support. So there are counselors here to support your child. If your child's having a difficult time, feels withdrawn or anything, please reach out to us on that. So, and we can absolutely plug them into one of our 5 counselors. We've invested a lot of resources into our counseling staff in our building, and we have supports outside of our building to support our students every day in a regular setting, but also through this remote setting. And it is challenging. So just know that. Because I feel like, too, that when we put stress on kids, that it counts, and they're alone, it's frustrating. So we got to make sure we're keeping an eye on them to make sure that they're okay. And then we plug them into the supports they need.
Also, Mr. Calvinese, I put my telephone number, my personal telephone number, if anybody needs to call me during school about attending and trying to help. So my telephone number is also in the chat.
That is great. I love that. That is Miss April Robinson, who is in charge of 6th and 7th grade, and her phone is in the chat, so feel free to use it.
What about Mr. Sullivan? Does he have a personal phone number? Because I have 8th graders.
I think Mr. Sullivan might have, is he on the call? He might have left. He had another appointment. Oh, there he is. Sullivan, you want to get out your personal cell phone?
I'm here. I'll post my cell phone right now.
See what happens when the principal does it? Peer pressure. Man.
All right,
Thanks
this is
thanks,
Mr. Snow. I don't have a cell phone.
You don't have
I'm
a cell
kidding.
phone?
It'll be in the chat. It'll be in the chat.
I'm like, really?
Mr. Snow.
So there you go. Just to recap there, you got Mr. Sullivan, who's running 8th and 9th grade. You got April Robinson, who's running 6th and 7th grade. And you got Mr. Snow, who's running 10th and 12th grade. And those are really key contacts here on the ground. And obviously myself, you got me working the entire building. So those are some, so if anything at all, and I'm so confident in all my teachers, and we really have great people. And so it's a learning process for everybody, but I feel like we are putting a lot of work into it right now, and it's going to be good.
Mr. Calvinese, I'm seeing there's a little bit of a theme about childcare. And so one parent asks, if I have 2 parents working, it creates a difficult situation. What do we do with our son that's too young to be home alone?
Challenge. I mean, it's a challenge. That's we have I'm in the same sort of boat. I have a 6th grader and a 7th grader. I'm sort of back and forth of what we're going to do with ours because they're going hybrid. And so, it's not an easy answer. I don't really have an answer for that. I think I can't have them in school. I would love to take kids here and there in school and try to help that out. But I don't have an easy answer for that. I would love to talk to that family. They can call me and we can talk through it a little bit and see what we can come up with. But it's a challenge. I mean, if we were my own kids, I was going to keep them home alone, and that's a scary thought too. Sometimes, But a challenge, and it's something we're all faced with. I don't know the answer to that question.
I think I can chime in because I am
Yep.
working also, and my wife is going and she has to be at work as well. And we have 2 small kids, and we're working to connect with another family that we trust is quarantining enough that we don't think that either one of us are going to be passing the virus among us. And we're going to do a few hours of childcare each day with each other so that we can manage. It's really challenging.
Yeah, I'm gonna chime in.
One idea as well is to reach out to any boys and girls clubs, community
Right.
centers that are
Yeah.
within the community. I know that they'll be offering opportunities for students or families to help assist with them. Sorry, Ms. Robinson.
No, I was gonna say the same thing. I heard that YMCA and the Girls and Boys Club in Springfield were setting up some type of program. I'm not quite sure, but they may want to start there and give them a call and see what it is.
That's a great point. Maybe we can do some research on our end on that.
Yeah, I'll look into it as well.
And we can look in that to see what organizations in the city can help with this.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we can post it on our website.
Yeah, we can post it on our website. We can
Yep.
you can do outreach to the city. I'm sure there's some
Yep.
things happening.
Yep.
There are a few questions about the portals. There was a question about like what's the difference between Power School and Unified Classroom and iReady, and somebody else asked about are there other portals we will need to access to meet expectations? I could say that I know that when we do our more detailed grade level meetings, that will be part of what we get into is exactly how to log in to where and to which portals.
And Unified Classrooms will be our hub still. In Unified, I see Teams and Zoom. We'll be using both Teams and Zoom, depending on the teacher. But the classes will be scheduled in a way that'll be easy to know which one where your child goes.
So I'm sorry, can I just clarify?
Yeah.
Okay. I understand how many portals are we talking about? Is it Power School, Unified Classrooms, and then iReady, is that 3, or is Unified Classrooms the same as Power School?
It's the same as Power School. So Unified Classrooms like within Power School. And
I got it, okay.
Yeah, so I and I don't even know if on your end you even see you see Power School, but I mean, yeah, that's they're the same thing.
Okay.
Ideally, yeah. So really, it's pretty simplistic. Everything is on Unified Classrooms. Everything is gonna be on Unified Classrooms. And then there are events, there are assignments, and all that. Now, I'm gonna say right now because I think Alex, we agree that we're gonna probably use Outlook, right, with TLT.
Yeah. So hey everyone, I'm Alex Friedman, 7th grade English and instructional coach. Yeah. So it looks like we'll be moving potentially to allow students to access their schedule through Outlook, which is an application on everyone's phone or a tablet device. And this would allow digital access to your schedule. It would also allow students to share their schedule remotely with you. So parents would be able to see your child's schedule and you'd be able to see when teachers post meeting links.
And so that's a real nice feature. So that's something we didn't have last year. And I think that's going to make it a lot more user-friendly for everybody out there. Thanks, Mr. Friedman.
Let's see. There are just a couple of questions about, a few people came in late about when and where will they be able to find the video that we're making for this?
We could, Mary Kay, that's probably you. Can we post this video on the website? Hey, people, you're on mute, Mary Kay, I'm sorry. Ms. Brown.
Yes, we can post it. I just need the link and I can post it on the website under messages from the principal.
I see Ms. DeMars posted her number. Just to give a quick introduction, Ms. Lexi DeMars is going to be working with us as our 6th grade dean. She's on this call. I see her down there. And hi, Ms. DeMars.
Hello, hi. Nice to meet everyone. Nice to see all the faces. I'm excited to join the 6th grade team.
So the dean job is always a tough job. You know, it's usually when you get the call from the dean, you know, it's not normally good. No, but it's okay. No, this year it's gonna be a lot different in a remote world. There'll be all kinds of things that Ms. DeMars might be calling you for, so to help you out. And maybe it'll be grades, it could be academics, it could be anything. So, Ms.
Yes.
DeMars, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
There's a question about picking books up.
Yep.
Will I need to come and pick up books? When would I be able to come and pick up books?
Great question. You don't need to come because most of the stuff will be online. If there is a need, we'll let you know that, but we will be doing a book pickup, so you can pick up books. And that will be the week before school starts. We're working out the details now, but the week before school starts, we'll do probably a couple days of pickup where we'll probably have from like noon till like 4, where every day they'll be just come and pick it up. We'll have folders for your child with a printed out schedule, an information packet, and books that they could use that they would be able to use. They wouldn't, again, you don't need to because they could be online, but I know many kids would prefer to have something to write into. Excuse me, that was my stomach.
I missed it. Kind of sucks.
So we'll let you know about that. Like we'll do an all call on that, phone call. If you know, and I would also, if we don't have your email address, I would email me. Give me your email address and we will update email. So that way we'll hit you. We'll give you a phone call. We'll post things online. We can send mass emails out. And so the email is really effective. So just send us an email and all I'll do is forward it to our clerks and they'll load it up for you. So we'll have that information. The one thing about technology, the one thing about this whole time has been that we've been able to like use technology to our advantage to reach out to families. So that's been good. I gotta make sure I'm not yelling on this thing.
Oh, you're doing great.
I'm doing good. Thanks, John. Yeah. Any other questions?
I have one last question. Is Class Dojo for a certain group of grades, and then when they get to another group of grades, they don't use Class Dojo?
That's a great question. So we, it's been sporadic. I think we're looking to use that in the middle school. We haven't used it much in the high school. And I'm gonna go back to Mr. Friedman on that. Mr. Friedman, what are your thoughts on that Class Dojo in all grades in the middle school?
Yes, we use it very regularly in the middle school, and the high school, I think they're still identifying the best thing to do for the fall.
Yeah, so 7th grade going into 8th, if your child was 7th grade, they were using it all the time. I think in 6th grade too, right, Ms. Robinson? We're using a lot in 6th grade.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Dojo, yes.
So you should see that 6, 7, and 8. In high school, we still haven't figured out if we're going to use Dojo. I think the thing with Dojo, I think high school teachers and kids feel like that's a little bit more like middle schoolish. You know, it's got the little icons or whatever they call those guys, avatars. But the unified classroom in Outlook will be a really good way to communicate through email with the high school kids, and it feels a little bit more adult-like for them.
When I scan through the chat, I feel like we've hit most of the questions. I wonder if anybody feels like we haven't really answered the question. If you could ask it again. I'm really trying to go through.
Mike, Stephen, there's a question from Ruth Morales about IEPs. I lost it now, but from Ruth Morales.
Yeah. Yep, I see it. How is remote learning going to work with students who have IEPs when parents are working? especially students with autism?
Yeah, so we have different programs of autism, so it depends on the need for autism. But IEPs in autistic or non-autistic should be fully implemented. So students that might need related services will get those related services either through Zoom or Teams. They'll also have a point person that should support them with classwork. Some of our students that are in the LINKS program, some of our students are nonverbal, so there's certain programs that they'll be using online that they'll have access to, and they'll have access to their teacher who is a special education teacher throughout the day. They'll have access to our some companies that we actually contract with for services. One of those contractors is Futures Health. So we will be still doing those. Now, if you have a child that you want to talk to me specifically about, I think we can absolutely talk about that, because if there's something on your IEP that you feel like they're not getting and they didn't get in the spring, then I definitely think we should talk about that and figure out what it is that your child needs. Every IEP is different, so it's hard for me to answer that question specifically over the Zoom. But again, my number is 413-439-5458. We should set up a meeting to discuss that to make sure we're hitting that IEP. And I ain't gonna say it's not a challenge. It's been a challenge. I know you know that more than anyone. It's been a challenge. So we have to figure that out, especially the needs of autism. I'm hopeful that they'll do a check on our buildings, and there was talk that their hybrid we would do a hybrid model, and then kids with the most need could get in there quickly into the buildings. And the school committee is going to reevaluate in November, and we'll see where we do from there. But I would love to have all kids in the building, but I definitely see the need for some of our autistic students to be in the building. And I saw that there's Class Dojo. The high school would like Class Dojo. We'll bring that back to the high school team. The high school teachers that are on this, it's a nice little tool. Maybe we look at as an option. So I really appreciate everyone's time today and this evening. I know that we are going to be looking at our policies and procedures in our schools, not just for remote learning, but long-term, as a school that wants to address anti-racism. So we will be doing more of these calls and talk about our vision and mission of our school, and talk about some policies that we have in our school that we might want to readdress. I feel like we do a nice job in our building through structure and love, but there are some things we want to re-examine. And so hopefully we can use this platform, even if we go back to school, because it's just an easy way to communicate with families. So we will see you all. Yep.
Can I just ask a question of the families? I just love how many questions are here, and I really appreciate everybody being here tonight. And one of the things that we did last year when we were in remote is that we hosted parent information sessions around helping communicate what we were doing as teachers and teaching how to go onto the platforms like Teams and Unified Classroom, so you could see, we could teach you online how to access all this stuff. And I'm wondering if there's interest in that. And if you could write in the chat if that's something that you might participate in. There were a few sessions where I had a lot of parents show, and then there were a few sessions where very few parents showed. And so I'm not actually sure if that's something that you feel is helpful. Can you just let me know in the chat if that feels like it will be helpful?
As you're doing that, I just want to say, I saw that school is not reopening in November. What's happening is the school committee is reevaluating. They're going to relook at everything, benchmark, and see where we are. There's no talk that we're back in November. So that's just something that November was, I would recommend all of this to my families. I think it's twice a month that Springfield Focus has school committee meetings, and I'm sure that you'll get a lot of good information out of those school committee meetings. So if you can watch those meetings, you'll see what's going on when it comes to like remote learning and some of the challenges they have with it, and when our school's going to eventually reopen. But there's no talk other than that they're going to evaluate the situation as it goes. They're going to evaluate the health of the community. They're going to evaluate the air quality of the buildings, and they'll make a decision that makes it safe for our kids to be back in the building. So we won't be back yet. I actually have to run to a call, but I wanted to take a quick I have a lot of staff on this call. If you want to stay on the call, can I have my staff just quickly whip through and say hello? If I have to run, I have a 6:30 meeting, but I wanted to make sure that I see some teachers in there can say a quick hello. That'd be great.
Hi, I'm Miss Linares. I'm the art teacher.
Carla Sarno, parent engagement.
Tracy Corliss, 6th grade special education.
Melvin Murray, 7th and 8th grade special education.
Tasha Jones, 6th grade English and instructional coach and chief equity influencer.
I'm Mary Seed. I'm 7th grade science.
Okay, where are we next? Lexi already spoke, right? Rhonda Dixon, I see you up there. Rhonda, you gotta say hello.
Hi, everybody.
Not letting you sneak out. I see Mr. Barif there too with his headphones on. You gotta say hello quick. Oh man.
Okay. So I need to end the call also because
we gotta
we're
go
using
to the
my
call.
Zoom account for the next call.
Yeah, so we have to run. There'll be a follow-up meeting for all grades coming up. There'll be another all call. It'll be the same way to get on it. Please contact me with your email if you want to get on our email listing. And we really thank all of you. We miss you guys. We miss our kids. I know they miss us too, believe it or not. But tell them we all say hello and we miss them and we'll see them soon. And everyone, please stay safe.
All right, thanks.
Thank you for everything you guys do for these kids.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Stay
Thank you.
safe.
Thank you. Don't forget to post this.
She said yes.
Thank you.
You got it.
Don't forget to watch.
You're welcome. Don't
Thank
forget
you.
to post this.
Oh yeah, post it.
If anybody needs that reading assignment that they were asking about, you need to click the link in the chat before I end the meeting, which is in about 10 seconds.
Okay, have a good night, everyone.
Thank you
Have
very
a great
much,
night.
everyone. Thank you. I'll see you on the next one.